Congratulations on your new role. Now,
you too.
The Prime Minister
Thank you so much.
on Wednesday at Prime Minister's Questions that procedure was followed in regards to the appointment of Peter Mandelson. But it wasn't, was it? Because Downing Street received the additional information on Tuesday, not on Wednesday, as Stephen Doughty then told the House on Thursday.
No, what was received on Tuesday was excerpts of emails for which they needed clarity. So the Foreign Office received excerpts of emails. They were put to Peter Mandelson. At the time of PMQs, the Prime Minister had not seen the full emails. He had not seen the response from Peter Mandelson. They came later on in the day on Wednesday, yes. But as soon as that evening, when he had the full emails and the full context, right. And he could make a decision having seen it, of course, the first thought from the Prime Minister, as it was with me and many others, is that this was Jeffrey Epstein. It was a criminal, and there are victims out there, and we have to put the victims first and think of them in conversations like this, because they will be re-traumatised by a lot of what they're hearing.
But
and he acted.
You knew the following. You already knew that Peter Mandelson had referred to Jeffrey Epstein as his best pal and made this strange remark, yum yum, in the 2003 birthday book. You also knew, because the Telegraph had reported it, it was referred to at PMQs, that Peter Mandelson had worked with Jeffrey Epstein post-conviction when he was business secretary on a deal, on a business deal. So you knew that. You also knew, because you would have watched, and at least I would hope that aides in Number 10 would have watched, the interview Peter Mandelson gave to Harry Cole's podcast, where Mandelson actually says in the open, there are more revelations to come. Even with all of that knowledge on Tuesday, the Prime Minister stands by this man on Wednesday.
Well, what we saw on Tuesday were excerpts of emails that were out of context, and we wanted to get the full context to make the decision. We also put all of this information on that same day
with a convicted paedophile. Peter Kyle, you're the one that's equated Nigel Farage with Jimmy Savile over his opposition to the online safety bill, but you're perfectly happy for the Prime Minister to have supported someone who described a convicted paedophile as his best pal.
I implore you not to put that on me in terms of what I am perfectly happy. I think of the victims in this crime. And when there is somebody who does something that is supporting in the way that was revealed on Wednesday when we saw the full emails, then I wanted action taken, and of course I expected it, and the Prime Minister did act. But do not use the phrase that I was happy, because I was certainly not happy with that. Now, if you want to talk about the Online Safety Act, I'm happy to talk about the Online Safety Act. But in this instance, we are talking about a 24. We are talking.
Right. The Prime Minister had a two-page dossier. The Prime Minister had a two-page dossier listing all of Peter Mandelson's relations with Epstein at the point that he was appointed as US ambassador. Okay? The Prime Minister knew that. The Prime Minister knew because everyone in Fleet Street knew. Journalists knew. It was an open secret that Peter Mandelson had a very close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It was the close relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and the Duke of York that cost him his job as a trade envoy. What on earth was the Prime Minister thinking in appointing this guy in the first place? He says it's in the national interest and that he behaves with integrity. He did it in his own interest because he wanted to keep the Blairites happy.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
What you saw was a vetting process, which is a standard vetting process, which is independently run by a unit in the Cabinet Office. That reported to the Prime Minister and it cleared Peter for appointment. The information that you're mentioning was public information. We knew that the association between Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein went beyond the conviction. That was known. These facts were available in the public. But what we saw from the emails in their full was of a materially different context than what we had known at the point of appointment. If we had known that then, we would not have appointed him to this job. The Prime Minister, within hours of seeing the full context, we did not.
That's the Peter Kyle, I'm sorry. Peter Mandelson himself tells Harry Cole there's more to come. Downing Street receives the emails in which Peter Mandelson has tried to support Epstein during his being charged and his conviction. We know Peter Mandelson stayed at Epstein's house while he was in prison. That all came to light to Number 10 on Tuesday. You're now saying that the Prime Minister didn't know until after Wednesday. That can't possibly be right. You had the files.
No, we did not have the full files until Wednesday. The cache of emails, we're talking about a 24-hour period here. We had snippets and excerpts. We tried to get to the bottom of it. We put this on, the Foreign Office put this to Peter on Tuesday. We were waiting for the response. The full response came, and we also had access to the full emails on Wednesday after PMQs. I've said it again and again and again, but it was Wednesday evening that we had access to the full cache of information, and then with hours, Peter had been recalled as the ambassador. To go back to the point, we knew, because there was publicly available information, it was available to the public, that the association had gone on longer. What was not known is the full extent of the relationship, and then also the context that was revealed in those emails. At the point of knowing that, we acted. The Prime Minister acted.
You can never escape the fact that the Prime Minister thought it was a good idea to appoint Peter Mandelson as the UK's ambassador to the US when the following was known. Peter Mandelson had previously had to resign not once but twice over scandals. Peter Mandelson had a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Peter Mandelson stayed with Jeffrey Epstein, stayed at his apartment while he was in prison. That there was a 2003 birthday book in which Peter Mandelson had described him as his best pal and used the strange phrase yum yum about what went on in Epstein's home. So what on earth does this say about the Prime Minister's judgment that he appointed Peter Mandelson in the first place and, despite the growing scandal around him, still defended him in the House of Commons on Wednesday, only to have to fire him the next day? His integrity and his reputation is in tatters, isn't it, Peter Kyle?
What the Prime Minister discovered on Wednesday was materially different from all of the sets of information that we'd had before. You have to understand that back in the period where Peter was appointed as ambassador, the global trading system had been upended. Relationships between America and Britain and other countries were being upended by a very unconventional approach to diplomacy. We faced a fundamentally challenging...
What was wrong with the job Karen Pierce was doing?
And
what was wrong with Karen Pierce?
We faced a fundamental... we faced a fundamentally challenging period, and we needed to get in there some real expertise that we felt was needed at that moment in time. But look what we've delivered since then. The first trade deal with America, the best trade deal with America. We are repurposing the special relationship to make it fit for a very, very unconventional period in time. We are announcing today over £1 billion of investment with America.
Are you saying that the Prime Minister couldn't find anyone better than Peter Mandelson, with all of his history, which has been well documented, to do that role? Is that how you're seriously spinning this? He did it in his own interest, not in the national interest, because he wanted to keep the Blairites happy, didn't he, Peter Kyle?
What you've seen is me saying very clearly, if we knew then what we know now,
you didn't know then what...
But look at what we have delivered for Britain.
You knew then most of what we know now.
We did not know then what we know now. It is materially different.
Was Peter Mandelson a controversial figure when he was appointed as ambassador to the US, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So why on earth did the Prime Minister put him in place? He didn't put him in place for the national interest. He put him in place for self-interest. And that's where the whole decency and integrity shtick comes undone. Because if you do things in your own interest and pretend they're in the national interest, you're misleading the public, let alone Parliament, aren't you, Peter Kyle?
Well, just look at what we've delivered in the period since Donald Trump became president. We delivered the best deal, the first deal, the only deal that has been sealed with the United States on trade and on tariffs. We have protected 44,000 automotive jobs. We've created new opportunities to make wealth, to create wealth and do business with America. Today we're announcing an extra £1.2 billion worth of investment from American banks into Britain. 1,000 jobs in Belfast, hundreds of jobs in Manchester, hundreds of jobs in Edinburgh. This is a relationship that we are delivering for British workers right around the country. At the same time, you have Nigel Farage going over there asking America to punish Britain. This is an administration that puts the national interest first. We know that this is a difficult situation. If we'd known then what we know now, we would not have appointed Peter Mandelson. But at every stage, we have strived to do what is in the best interests of Britain in difficult circumstances.
Peter Kyle, you've mounted a very robust defence. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.